Start recording, start streaming, update information just in case it's still got from my other stream. Alright, let's oh shit, I've just froze. No, I'm fine. Alright, let's go. Sorry, for a second there I forgot what I was doing. A bit of brain fog myself actually. And that's not a work. Which is really hard to tell if I'm working nowadays, isn't it? Now I think about it. Like, when was the last time you believed a word I said? Okay. Streaming. Welcome to Jfabe. It's a pirate-themed Jfabe. Jfabe because of WrestleMania. Yeah. Jfabe. Jay.
What happened?
Yeah, WrestleMania happened. It's Wednesday. It's the 14th of April.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah. Any thoughts? WrestleMania.
Night one was better. Surprisingly.
That was actually a surprise. So we did our prediction show, which I'm sure you've found at anchor.fm/Jfabe, or on YouTube, or on Twitch TV, or on iTunes, or on Google Play, or on Spotify. There's no excuse, is what I'm saying, internet. Anyway.
On the cast, off the cliff.
Yeah, all of the casts. All of them. There's so many casts, we may as well be India, right? So yeah. Can I say that?
Yes.
I said it, yeah.
I think so.
Well, if Chris Jericho said it, if Chris Jericho said, you know, compared...
Fine.
Yeah, he compared WCW to the caste system in India, so, you know, I'm sure it's the same thing. We're going to be talking about Chris Jericho's appearance on the Broken Skull Sessions. We're going to be talking about night 1 and 2 of WrestleMania. I am joined by Jay. Jay is at I Am Not a Robot, where the O's are zeros, but only in the word robot on Twitter. I am at Not a Time Duke, and I am also Shmup Yours on Twitch TV. Last night I managed to do a 1 credit clear of Dodon Pachi Die for Katsu on Novice. So yeah, quite liked it. Everyone clapped when I completed Daifukatsu on novice mode with 1 credit, so yeah. And of course,
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty excessive. You can watch it on Shmup Yours right now. I nearly cry with happiness. I've been playing that game 9 years. It's like my first major milestone. It's not an easy game, is what I'm saying. So night 1, we of course had the main event of Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, but we're also going to be talking about everything else. I'm going to get the card up on Wikipedia, which I really should have done before. While I do that, please listen to the great sounds of Gangplank Galleon from the game Donkey Kong Country 2. Because we are on Twitch, I am going with game themes because I know they won't get me banned. So that's nice. No more Doctor Who soundtracks for us. Murray Gold must be really happy that I'm not stealing his music anymore. WrestleMania 37 it was, although they just call it WrestleMania now. Jay, what's your thoughts on this need to call WrestleMania without a number?
Well, it's definitely 37. They can't hide the fact there's a WrestleMania every year. I mean, let's think about it. Just 1 second. Just add more nights. Night 3, night 4.
Well, they've already done that. They've already done that because they've added another WrestleMania pay-per-view this year with WrestleMania Backlash. Did you notice that?
Oh yeah, no,
I
did.
They have indeed called...
Money in the Bank's now in June instead of May this year, so they push it back to June on the normal spot.
That's interesting. I think there's obviously something going on with Peacock there. Probably just Peacock being all like, hey, let's be evil and fuck with wrestling and make it worse. As everything new that happens in WWE inevitably is assumed to be by the internet wrestling community. We will be ignoring the internet wrestling community today and just unless you decide to sign on to Twitch and just talk to us. I'm gonna talk about the I'm going to talk about the wrestling, though. I'm going to let Jay talk about the wrestling. Bobby Lashley, with MVP, started off the night 1. Drew McIntyre Singles match, WWE Championship, 18 minutes, 20 seconds. Jay, get us started while I take some codamol to calm down my excitement.
I'm quite excited. Match 1, Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley going as champion.
No idea why I'm so excited. It's
I'm surprised this
WrestleMania.
match actually went longer than it did. I know it's going to be a 4-hour show, but I only expected it to be about, 15 minutes long? And I always expected Drew McIntyre to come out as the champion. But Bobby Lashley winning is really solidifying himself within the championship picture, obviously, as he's the champion, and actually carrying it forward with him, which is great because I love Bobby Lashley. So why would they not do that? Right?
No, this is true. I mean, I heard there was a rumour that some of the matches were changed on the night by Vince McMahon, some of the results. It wouldn't surprise me if this was one of them, although I'm not quite sure to what end. Everyone I know who has in the past advocated Bobby Lashley to me, and you'll know that on this show, myself or other versions of me who are also me, that gets really confusing, but it's a nod to the long-term fans. We've always said, I don't like Bobby Lashley because I think he's about as interesting as a peanut butter sandwich that somebody's trod in. But when people have said to me, I think it's a good move to keep him with the belt, I now understand why, because this was a really good match from Bobby Lashley. This was the Bobby Lashley that people have been telling me exists. Yeah,
what I've been telling you. This is it.
And this is
what I saw an impact in TNA. This is the guy.
This I am now enjoying, and I am interested in Bobby Lashley. I saw shades of it when he broke out the when he first started with the full Nelson as his finisher, or what do they call it?
Hurt Lock.
The Hurt Lock, yes. When he first started with the Hurt Lock, I kind of saw shades of it with how it was being built, but most of the heavy lifting there was done by MVP and the commentary team, as well as his opponents.
Well,
but
I wouldn't say heavy lifting, he didn't really base anything, but anything good anyway. But yeah,
I think the way that was gotten over by a team effort. It was a team effort to get the Hurt Lock over, right? But Bobby Lashley got himself over during that match. I feel that we really should have mentioned how WrestleMania started, but I'm going to skip back to that. I just immediately thought, right, start with the first match because there's like 50 of the damn things. All in all, 18 minutes. Do you feel that this was a match that was well placed? The first match of the year in front of fans, the first match in over 365 days in front of WWE Universe. Start of WrestleMania weekend, possibly the most watched WrestleMania weekend in modern history due to the pandemic.
it's like yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, because obviously it would be there to get the crowd hyped, even though there were still piping in crowd noises due to the lack of fans. Obviously, there's only about 11,000 people on the first night. But on the other side, it was like, the match is so good, why not have it further up the card? Why not have it before the main event, to have a co-main event out of it, instead of having it right at the beginning? I mean, they could have easily had Cesaro versus Seth Rollins at the start and built the crowd that way quite easily.
That's fair. I mean, I think it was obvious that, I think with these 2-night deals, and I think we're seeing this, I think we're certainly seeing this moving forward with NXT and similar. The idea is really to have the main event be one women's match and one men's match. And I think ultimately that's the way the WWE's business model is going. I think they need to spend more time building their main roster females. I think it's a shame that in that system, the men who are always going to be the main event of whichever night the men get are always going to be the ones who are facing Roman Reigns. That's a bit predictable, and I think that's a shame. When I think about it, I honestly can't think of a better match to start this off.
But who is the main draw in WWE right now? If it's not Roman Reigns.
Well, exactly. Who is it? I don't know. I think WWE are in a position where no one person is drawing WWE at the moment. And I think that happens sometimes in WWE. Obviously, the Attitude Era was a great example. Sure, it started off with Stone Cold Steve Austin, but later on it became the product itself. And I think WWE is going to see a revival where there is no one man drawing it, which is the position that they wanted pre-pandemic, right? To some degree, because why else would they throw so much effort after a dead horse like Roman Reigns as a face? But I can see. I think you're right. I think long term, Roman Reigns is going to be as big as John Cena. He's going to be as big as The Rock, potentially.
But he needed this heel turn to do that.
He did. Drew McIntyre, where to from now?
Raw's happened. He's the number one contender again.
He is the number one contender. So looks like that's going to be going into WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah, it is.
So
WrestleMania Backlash.
That's going to be interesting. It's a weird one.
Rematches.
Yeah, WrestleMania rematches seems like an easy way of terming it. It's interesting. I can see why they've done it. It just confuses me as to why they've done it now, other than maybe to make it. I assume they're working under the assumption that it's going to be probably. Are they having fans for WrestleMania Backlash? Do you know? I
have no idea, to be honest with you.
If they're having fans, they're probably working under the assumption that viewership is going to be as big as WrestleMania. And also they've probably got a bit of spare money knocking about that was going to be invested in their yearly trip to Saudi Arabia. Sorry, their twice yearly trip to Saudi Arabia to take all that blood money and rub it all over Vince's chest, because I believe it continues to
blood money.
Yeah, it's one of the ingredients to the witch's potion that keeps him alive. That tuna steaks and
what it is.
The sneezes of his enemies, which is why he hates sneezes. That's the thing that goes into this brew.
Because his enemies.
Yeah. Well, anyone who sneezes is his enemy, as you know. So actually, that makes life a bit easier. If I'm utterly honest, when you're looking for the sneezes of your enemies, somebody sneezes near him, that goes in the brew, and that continues to keep him young. There's a entire season of Jfabe in that. So. We will expect to hear that at some point in the future. If sci-fi ever happens again, it's going to happen again. If it ever happens again,
I think it's already happening.
You're already happening. The rained out section at the start. Obviously, I've completely missed the rain. Before we conclude on the Bobby Lashley thing.
For me, it was rain because I was late.
You were late. Yeah, you were. You were in your expanded bubble, enjoying the company of somebody who I assume has either childcare issues or is living alone, and as the law in the UK currently requires. There you go. Jay was in his expanded bubble, enjoying the company of people, and returned home late.
Person.
Person. Of course. Thank you for correcting me. I wouldn't want anyone to get a bad idea. Just for everyone's information, by the way, we are in separate rooms while we film this. In fact, we're in separate. Right, I'm going to reach my hand over. So you just make a hand, come and scratch your beard. Okay, here we go. Oh, he's not playing along. Oh, wait, there we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, that was my hand. Hello. Yeah, that's there we go. You're fooled. It's an illusion. Anyway, none of that made any sense if you're listening at anchor.fm/Jfabe, but that's what you miss if you're not watching Twitch or YouTube So, your fault, not mine. Anyway, I don't know what's gotten into me today, mate. I am quirky. This is a quirky Rich. I'm not even trying.
No. You kind of disappeared. You went on the sick, didn't you? Like in the last episode, you went on the sick, according to Taz.
What? No.
You went on the sick.
No. I was here. I don't know what you're talking about, mate. No. I'm fine.
All right. That's
No.
what Taz said. You're fine.
Mate, I do Taz's voice. You not heard my impression of him. Whoopie-doo, my name's Taz. See? It's me.
Just the same. That's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Anyway, so it rained, and it rained, and WWE guys, WWE guys, they were just thrown in front of a camera. Like anybody who was dressed was thrown in front of a camera and made a promo about their match.
I still haven't gone back to watch that yet.
You need to go and watch that because you see 4 of the best promos. Seth Rollins' promo is fucking genius, like absolute unscripted genius. The Miz manages to pull a fairly good one out. Jay there showing off his Seth Rollins t-shirt for the benefit of everyone watching on YouTube. Do remember to click the like and subscribe button. Do I pitch too much in this show? I'm beginning to think I do. Oh, all right. Fair play. And, of course, if you don't pitch at all, you can get Blue Chew. No, I'm only joking. That would have been a really good segue. That would have been a really good segue if we actually had sponsors on this show. If anyone would sponsor us.
Chew.
Yeah, Blue Chew. Come on. Jay could use you.
Hey. I'm all right, mate.
You know full well our first sponsor is going to be like a diarrhea company, like to stop you from having diarrhea. Not somewhere that sells diarrhea, but somewhere that stops you from having it. Yeah, like Imodium. It's going to be Imodium. It's going to be like the first half of the show we're going to be advertising like Five Guys, and then the second half we'll be doing Imodium. That's what sponsorships and us will look like.
Taco Bell and Imodium.
But yeah, no, it was really good. You got to see Michael Cole and Samoa Joe in ponchos. It was fucking hilarious. And also the irony of it was brilliant. So yeah,
he disappeared from TV.
I would say it's probably the best 35 minutes of WWE I've ever seen. Just because there was no wrestling, there were completely unscripted promos, and you could tell Vince was going crazy, but you didn't have to see but he couldn't communicate with anybody because they're already in front of cameras. So you literally got the trifecta of good WWE programming.
So we had like Seth Rollins. Who else was good on that one?
The New Day absolutely lit it up with their promo. There was some really good kind of backstage come on then, yes mate, and what kind of stuff between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. You know, they got all and Watty doing the umbrella thing. All vexed because they were ready to go out, and then they were just disappointed as that ring announcer woman behind the scenes, Prozac Pam or whatever her name is, who's always constantly smiling.
Prozac.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, she's like, what, been there about a few months now.
I am backstage. Yeah, she's so happy. I
have no idea where I am.
Yeah, I'm gonna stare blankly into space unless there's a wrestler next to me. Then I will forget to. Oh, I sounded a bit MJF there, didn't I? That was unexpected. I'm honestly, stop thinking I'm doing a bit all the time.
I just never know anymore.
Yeah, I know. This is really, it's confusing. It's confusing even me. I've Jfabe myself into a shoot. Right. What did you think of this first match? While I switch on my air conditioning, what do you think of this first match?
Great match. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can really say bad against it. They tore it up.
They really did. They really did. I mean, it was
It didn't
the
bat
perfect
the shit out of each other. It wasn't really a story to it. It was just like who's going to knock each other out. That's pretty much what was happening in that match.
Yeah, it was the perfect example of what they were doing. It was a really good, high-paced, hard-hitting affair to kind of...
Was it a hard-hitting affair?
It was a hard-hitting affair to introduce people to the world of WWE again. And it was a really nice thing to see, and it especially if you've had over a year without seeing wrestling in front of a crowd. You know, you don't have a New Japan subscription, obviously, but effectively it was a good introduction back to that, and I think they
but even in New Japan, they still can't shout, they can only clap.
That's true, but I mean, the Japanese audiences had only learned to clap within the last 20 years anyway, so yeah. Like, genuinely, they used to just sit in silence.
It's only soccer that really gets into it. So. Yeah,
well, I mean, honestly, like, if you remember that SmackDown where William Regal and Chris Benoit went to Japan and held a wrestling match for the first 15 to 20 minutes, and the fans sat there silently because they were still in the pre-Brock Lesnar world where... Whilst impressed with a wrestling show, you would show respect by staying silent. That was still going on, and people were shocked when they just sat there in silence. So the actual cheering of fans is really a kind of post Brock Lesnar, post Finn Balor kind of, or Prince Devitt, sorry, introduction to Japanese wrestling, I suppose. So. It just kind of feels a bit more old school to me. But anyway, I'm going off on tangents. So I'm just all over the place today. Natalia and Tamina, along with a load of other women, in a tag team turmoil match. I'm kind of who's.
And the winners are.
It is Natalia and Tamina. Yes. This was a women's match. There were several women in it. They were all very, very interchangeable, and it lasted 14 minutes, 15 seconds. Jay, what were your thoughts on this match?
So in this match, we had Naomi versus Lana versus Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke versus Natalia and Tamina versus the Riot Squad versus Carmella and Billie Kay.
I really like that you've got notes nowadays. Please continue.
What my surprise was that Naomi and Lana went out first. And it was against Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. What the hell was that about? Why are they burying Naomi? I get Lana, but not Naomi. That makes no sense. She's actually talented.
Oh, they might be burying. They might be burying Lana because they found out that Rusev had fairly bought a ticket and turned up in the audience. You know, so they might have been burying her because she has a boyfriend who doesn't work for them.
I mean, that's always a possibility, but.
It wouldn't surprise me. Very, very petty. And here's the thing. Rusev posted on Twitter that he was there and posted about Lana. And guess what?
With Lana's dad.
With Lana's dad. But guess what? As a consequence of Rusev showing that he was at WrestleMania, even though he's an active AEW talent, Tony Khan has done nothing because he's a decent human being. And not a complete and utter prick like Vince McMahon, who routinely sacks people for going to other places. So, yeah, there's that. Did you catch any of that, Jay? I think Jay has lost me. Jay seems to have lost me.
I didn't catch any of that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Jay seems.
I'm still here.
Studio disconnecting, reconnecting.
Got full connection, stereo Rich. Full connection.
Yeah, I'm having problems because of the virtual camera with Ob Studio, so please bear with me. Can you hear me now, Jay?
No. I can hear you now.
Okay.
I can't see you now, but I can definitely hear you.
That's okay. I'm just going to mess around with my virtual camera a little bit, because that's pretty much what they have. A virtual camera plugin. It's an okay virtual camera plugin. It's what I'm using to send the image to Jay. However, it uses my processor, whereas I am not using my processor to send these details to Jay. I am using my graphics card, so it all gets a bit confused. Jay is good fun. Anyway, I'm not.
Overall, the match was okay. It wasn't anything to shout about, was it? It was.
It was.
Team
Yeah,
out,
it was all right.
Moves. Yeah.
The point I was making.
I mean, it's like we're just thrown in there to get a payday.
Jay.
Get some time, but yeah, it was pretty much a non-match. I think they could have easily have done this on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, that was
out there.
That was the problem. It felt like it belonged on Raw and SmackDown. Don't you feel?
Yeah, that was completely the feel to it. So,
as I was
much on the card.
As I was saying before I went offline there, mate, or before you lost me, as it were. So, yeah, Rusev goes to this show, tweets about it from the audience, picture of him with Lana's dad saying, "I'm at WrestleMania, nothing will stop me," right? Tweets picture, shows it the world. Tony Khan, in response to this, did absolutely nothing, because he's a decent human being who wouldn't sack somebody for going to a show for an opposing company. Unlike Vince McMahon, who would, because he's a prick. Just wanted to highlight that. Does that sound like a fair highlight? I think it does. Jay's freezing now, so that's a good sign. This is good.
Full connection over here.
Yeah, no, it's happening on my side. It's now my side that's screwing everything up. So that's just wonderful. That is just great. I mean, it's not a lack of connection. It's just the amount of stuff that I'm doing.
Right.
If I'm utterly honest, it's OBS gets quite confused. I don't think Discord plays particularly well with OBS, if I'm utterly honest. So that's a bit frustrating. Oh well, that's fine. Jay will be fine. Right, can you hear me, Jay?
Yes.
All right then. So let's continue on as we are and see what happens. Because I'm still recording on my side. So
okay.
beyond that 14-minute masterpiece that was the women's match that may as well have been a Raw match. After that, next match was Cesaro, Seth Rollins. Now, you predicted that this would be match of the night. How do you feel that went? Do you feel it was a correct assessment?
It felt his second best match of the night.
Yeah.
But very close second.
Very close second. That's fair. This is Seth Rollins and Cesaro. The story was an interesting one, wasn't it, overall? Because the story itself was based around this idea of
swinging Seth Rollins 15,000 times.
Yeah, basically. And it wasn't too bad overall. It was a really well told story. I felt it set up the premise. It was a simple premise, which you need when you've got those type of fans. Very casual audience. A lot of people watching this. Probably the biggest audience WrestleMania has had in years, but the numbers will show that later if they can be bothered to tell us. All in all, it didn't go too badly at all. And this match was an outstanding match.
Cesaro went to the swing and teased it too many times. But other than that, it was absolutely fine. I mean, they had 23 spins on one swing.
23 spins.
Neutralizer.
See, I was predicting that they were going to do. More than 23 spins. I was actually predicting 37. I thought that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, it was less than what was on SmackDown. So it would have made more sense to have more, but maybe lost footing or felt a bit too dizzy.
Well, there was a big effect from the rain. Obviously, there was that problem with the rain. In fact, I who was it who slipped over? I believe it was AJ Styles slipped over on his way down the ramp as a result of the rain.
Mandy Rose fell over.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to rain for Mandy Rose to fall over. She just needs a particularly violent breeze, right?
No, she's got a bit hench these days.
She's got a bit what?
A bit hench.
Yeah, nowadays. Or a hat. She had the thing with the hat, didn't she?
No.
See, there was this thing with a hat, and Jay's pretending it didn't happen. So
no, it actually never happened. It's just you confusing her with someone else, I think, Rich.
No, there's definitely a thing with a hat. Anyway, all in all, it was 11 minutes 35 seconds. It was as long as it needed to be, but it was shorter than I expected. Could have been a much more favourably viewed match of the match, but I mean, compared to the other matches that were on the cards, I think there were a few matches that were cut down, and this was one of them. It was followed by AJ Styles and Omos versus the New Day. Any closing thoughts on Cesaro, Seth Rollins?
Second best match of the night. Could watch them wrestle all the time. I always knew they were going to be really good because obviously they wrestled in ROH and they know each other for a very, very long time. So,
Seth Rollins didn't try the. Seth Rollins didn't try his whirly gig though, did he? What do they call it?
The whirly gig.
You know, his off the top rope. Jay, you are really not helping here. No, he has a diving move. He has a diving move that he used to do, but he doesn't do anymore. And rather than do that, he instead did a spinning frog splash. Sorry?
It was a spinning frog splash. That was brilliant. That was.
Yeah, he did a spinning frog splash, but there was a move that he did previously that he can no longer do off the top rope. That he can no longer do.
Splash?
I can't remember. Awesome.
He didn't do a spiral tap.
There we go. Spiral tap. That was it.
That was AJ Styles.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just literally repeating your commentary as I was playing. You said he can't do a spiral tap, therefore he did that instead. That was your exact words on the night.
Was it? Was it? Maybe I was just too excited.
Maybe. Perhaps. But that's why I thought that Spiral Tap was his, but I guess not. AJ Styles, Omos, New Day. Tag match. Thoughts on this one?
AJ Styles did most of the work, and it was all about getting Omos in just to finish. That was it. So it was basically them cutting off AJ Styles in the ring. AJ Styles taking a beating, but also having a bit of offense thrown in there. But it was basically just get Omos in, smack him down, get the 3 count, and give AJ his Grand Slam.
Yeah, that's fair. It wasn't a bad match, but again, it was another one of those matches that could have lasted on, could have done fine on Raw.
AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston kind of carried that match, in my opinion.
Well, it's AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston. Of course, they're going to carry that match. When it's Xavier Woods and Omos are your alternative. I mean, I rate Xavier Woods on a trombone or a microphone, but in the ring, let's say the New Day.
I like the elbow drop.
Yeah. I mean, he's very.
He's a good tag team competitor. I've never really rated his single stuff.
That's fair. I mean, he's very classic kind of. He's a very kind of classic wrestler. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. His execution is fine. His execution is better than fine at times, but ultimately, he's no Kofi Kingston and he's no AJ Styles, right? I think that's a fair assessment.
That's true. He had a tag team with Jay Lethal in TNA called Lethal Consequences, I think it was called.
Okay.
because he was called Consequences Creed.
Yeah, I like it because it's a pun.
It's a good pun.
Yeah, no, it's a very good pun. All in all, what would you rate this match if you were going to give it a rating?
If I was going to give it a rating, is it out of 5? Are we talking the Dave Meltzer ratings?
Yeah. It's a Dave Meltzer rating, so obviously, tell us what you'd rate it.
So AJ Styles in it, so 7.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, AJ Styles in it, so 7 out of 5. Yeah. It was an alright match. It was nothing amazing. Definitely not.
It wasn't a shout out.
After that, the piss break match, Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon in a Shane's definitely going to do a stunt. Please don't go and buy popcorn because you can do that during Bad Bunny's thing match. Or Steel Cage, as it is also known.
I did go for a cigarette, and I haven't gone back to watch it. But I did like the fact that Braun Strowman ripped open the cage to pull Shane McMahon back in and then throw him off the cage.
Ripping open the cage was fine. When did it become accepted kind of parlance that a pinfall is legal in a steel cage match all the time? Because Michael Cole pretty much, he pinned him, referee started counting, Michael Cole said, of course, pinfall, one of the ways that you can win a steel cage match. Like, no more,
well,
is he saying?
Fourth, is it?
No
it's
more.
Just become...
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I like, no more is does he say pinfalls are legal in this steel cage match, but instead, as if it's just a standard rule set. Is that to kind of defeat this older mentality of pinfalls were only ever legal in a steel cage match that ended on a pinfall kind of thing? Or will it change next time there's a steel cage match and they decide that there's no pinfalls?
It will probably change, but for me, this started in TNA. They're the ones, in my opinion, that started the whole pinfalls in cage matches.
Well, I mean, it's something that happened in WWE as well, probably around about the same time.
Not very
often. I don't know. During the Attitude Era, there were quite a few situations like that where there was pinfall in the steel cage, surely. Now I'm thinking about it, you might be right.
Escape.
Oh, okay. So it was TNA that once again ruined something that was brilliantly wrestling. There you go. TNA once again ruined wrestling. All in all, this was an okay match.
Really?
What did you say?
But did it really?
Yeah, every time.
There were some great aspects about it, but So, all in all, this match was a smoke break. So
yeah, I don't know. This match was fine. It had the standard story of Shane McMahon running away, Braun Strowman stopping him, occasionally showing his strength. Eventually, Braun Strowman.
I'm not stupid. I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah. Eventually, Braun Strowman threw Shane McMahon off the top of the cage into the ring, which was a fine kind of stunt, but it kind of seemed a little bit weird. I suppose they got to the day and realised that Shane couldn't do his elbow drop off the top of the steel cage without Braun have already winning the match, so therefore they're having no point. If that makes sense, they get there and they're like, oh shit, yeah, isn't it a rule that if somebody comes out of the steel cage, then they win the match, so there'd be no reason for me to elbow drop you through it. Oh yeah, well I guess you're throwing me off it then. I have a feeling that conversation happened just before they went on. Because yeah, and then Braun shouted something about this is for anybody who's been bullied, which I kind of get, but what are your thoughts on having a 6'7" man be the advocate for people being bullied? Because from my perspective,
his character when he first started out was a bully.
Well, his character was a bully. Also, any bully who tries to bully a 6'7" man, and that 6'7" man being
a retard.
probably a complete and utter Did you just use the R word on like, oh well, it's too late, he's done it now. Somebody cancel this motherfucker. Someone cancel him. But yeah, it's honestly really, really ridiculous that he would be the guy. But there you go. That's Braun Strowman for you. There must have been better people to have in that role. It was just an excuse to get Shane McMahon on the card. It was 11 minutes and 25 seconds, thankfully. And that's all I've got to say about it at this stage, especially considering that the next match was Damian Priest and Bad Bunny versus The Miz and John Morrison. So this match started with bunnies coming to the ring.
And then it was like, oh, this is going to be shit.
Yeah, Jay, can you explain this bunny thing? So that what's the name of their song?
Hey hey.
Hey hey hop
Something.
hop. So
Hop,
yes,
hop, that's right.
yes, they had Hey Hey Ho Ho last year,
That's why there's lots of bunnies.
and then it was Hey Hey Hop Hop this year. It
And they
was
did the whole singing and dancing in the ring with the bunnies around them that were losing their ears.
It was very silly. I don't know.
But then the match happened.
Considering that this is kind of the showpiece of WrestleMania for the casual audience, which is probably why it was on second to last. Interesting choice to have the opponents be so obnoxious, but then The Miz is a wrestler who exists outside of wrestling and in popular culture as well in America and the States because of his appearance on The Real World. People know who he is. I mean, it's basically if Big Brother's Craig in the UK decided to join it, a wrestling faction, you know. Can you imagine Jade Goody versus Brian from Big Brother 2 in an intergender match?
Yes.
It would be hilarious, right?
It would be hilarious. It would be.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. Anyway, it was... Yeah, that was alright. You had the big moment where Bad Bunny rides in on top of his articulated truck, or 18-wheeler, as you would call it, if you want to get American about this. And, yeah, it was alright. Bad Bunny wasn't bad, was he?
Bad Bunny was more than okay.
Yeah.
More than okay.
He wasn't...
I was really surprised by how good he was.
He wasn't Pat McAfee levels of over-rehearsed, right? But he was...
I don't know if he was better than Pat McAfee. I mean,
really?
Pat McAfee's match with Adam Cole, really good, but... And obviously there were more wrestlers involved in this match, and obviously Pat McAfee didn't have anyone to hide behind. He only had himself and Adam Cole and a referee. So... But, I don't know, I think Bad Bunny came off looking better.
I think that's fair. I mean, definitely in the case of The Miz and John Morrison, they are absolutely connoisseurs of making people who aren't necessarily great wrestlers look fantastic. I mean, that's the job of a great experienced deal. But then Bad
Bunny sold really well for Miz and Morrison as well.
Yeah, and that's not something that you very often get.
From a celebrity, no, not at all.
Yeah, very often celebrities go in and...
Pat McAfee and Bad Bunny, I know, maybe they should form a tag team.
Bad Bunny and Pat McAfee. Yeah. What would they be called? What would they be called, do you think? Bat McBuffy. Bad cat. No, it's not working. We'll work it out. We'll
Bad
think of a
Kathy.
name. If you can think of a name, please do get in contact with us on anchor.fm/Jfabe. You can contact myself at NotATimeDuke on Twitter. You can contact Jay at I am not a robot. The O's are in fact zeros in robot, which isn't represented well. But not in not. Yes, that is correct. And they look exactly the same in the font. Please do remember, because they look exactly the same in the font that I've selected for this show. So, not very helpful.
Slightly bigger than the...
Well, that just confuses it more, doesn't it? Yeah, I used a Snickers font for this.
No, they're the same size.
I'm, of course, on Twitch as ShmupYours. You can watch me play Dead on Patchy and GoldenEye HD on Twitch, so that's kind of cool. But you can also contact us on
cross promotion in.
Exactly, cross promotion right here. And let's not forget, we're on YouTube. You can hear the saga of Christmas 2019. It's fantastic radio play put together by an absolutely talented robot, and yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, no, Jay did a really good job on the editing there. Jay, just amazing editor. He's got a technical mind. Technical mind.
Wasn't Rich at all.
Yeah,
definitely me. Definitely Jay.
Definitely Jay. Yeah, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks in the main event. We will talk quickly about that main event before. Well, I say quickly. It was 17 minutes 15 seconds. It was the longest match of the night. Second longest match of the weekend. It was not a bad match at all. Jay, what were your thoughts on this? Because this was a long time coming for Bianca Belair, was it not?
For sure, and Sasha Banks for being in the main event of WrestleMania. As soon as I heard it was going to be the main event
of night one,
it was like it's of night one. It was like, will this be match of the night? I had my reservations about that because obviously I went for Seth Rollins and Cesaro to be the number one match, but my God, did they put it out start to finish.
They really did. I mean, first off, kudos to Sasha Banks for her new look. She was slaying it, absolutely. Bianca Belair obviously slaying it as well, but I think Sasha Banks had, when it came to image, she had the WrestleMania look down. She looked great, did she not? And this is coming from me. I'm a bona fide queer.
They both look great.
Definitely. The match started. The two of them sobbed a little bit because of the pride they felt that they were the first two African American women. Was it? Well, no. That's not actually the words that Michael Cole used. Michael Cole confidently and correctly, I think, stated that it was the first time two black women main evented WrestleMania, and yeah, it seemed like the right call. It was one of those iconic calls that we are going to hear again and again in the next few years over heartwarming corporate WWE music.
Well, it was like give the fans what they want, and that's what they did for once.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean,
a petition blown about. Loads of people signed it. Everyone was on Twitter calling for it to be the main event.
It was the right call. Like Bianca Belair, for how long she's been doing this, which isn't very long, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, I mean, her career started in 2016.
So.
Yeah, her first appearance on NXT TV was around a week before our first podcast. So she has been on TV only a week longer than we've been podcasting, and she is now the Smackdown Women's Champion, and we are obviously a championship level podcast. Plenty of viewers. Hey Mitch, how you doing, bro? Oh shit!
Oh, yeah, that guy.
He's fictional.
He's fictional.
He is a fiction. But yeah, it's quite a testament to her in-ring ability. What were some memorable spots from the match? Look at that look!
Look on my face.
Look at that look. Jay, he was just like, there was so many. There were so many.
You can't really call them. But the main booker point of this really was Bianca Belair's hair, and they just built around that, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, there was the whipping of the hair, judicious use of the hair, so much so that her hair actually managed to cut Sasha Banks' ribs open. That was
the last shot.
That was indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. what we saw was effectively a back and forth match. The story that was told was one of, can Bianca Belair do it? She did do it. She won. It was just a good moment. It was just worth watching. That's the only problem with this WrestleMania Night 1 in particular. There's not much I can say other than it was worth watching, and this is one that was worth watching. Yeah. Any closing thoughts on it?
If you haven't seen it already,
I mean, listening to us talk,
watch it.
Listening to us talk about it is almost like watching it. But no, it was a great match. Bianca Belair didn't look out of place, and that's the important thing here, because you have a brand new star. She felt less out of place than Rhea Ripley did on night 2. And that's saying something, because Rhea Ripley didn't feel out of place at all. She's done WrestleMania before, but Bianca Belair, she just slotted right in very comfortably. And I think that she is a great example of somebody joining that. She's a 4-horsewoman level wrestler, isn't she?
Well, yeah, for sure. But when she first joined the main roster, she was not having a great time. She was placed in bad positions. She was off TV for months, and then all of a sudden they moved to SmackDown, and loads of great things happened for her.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad idea at all to do what they've done with her. 2020 draft October, she was drafted over to SmackDown. She defeated.
She's drafted over to Raw first, wasn't it? Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Raw
that was in the that was in the 2019 one, initially just after WrestleMania 36. So yeah, they involved her in the Street Profits, got her in with Zelina Vega, Angel Garza, Austin Theory, all of those people over on the main roster when she first joined it.
Didn't do much for her, but they killed it because they took up half the show.
Exactly. And then 2020 draft, she goes over to SmackDown. All of a sudden, she's defeating Billie Kay, Natalia in triple threat match to qualify for the Women's Survivor Series team. Has a good showing on the Women's Survivor Series team, but obviously the victor there being Lana, just Lana. And then really, really good showing in Royal Rumble. So she's obviously done quite a bit to impress people. What more can you say?
Well, yeah, she's now SmackDown Women's Champion.
She's SmackDown Women's Champion.
Then we see Sasha Banks at the end, breaking character and smiling at her while she's on the floor.
I can't blame Sasha.
Got caught by
Banks.
the camera.
I can't blame Sasha Banks for doing that, and I don't think that they will. I don't think that there'll be any kind of repercussions for that because
it was like a sense of achievement, really, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, there was a real feeling of achievement between both women throughout the match, and I think that was. I think it was well deserved. I was riveted to the match. I stopped what I was doing. As you know, I was playing Borderlands 3 at the time during night 1 and watching this on my second screen. 2 monitors, really useful. Get 2 monitors now available at anywhere that sells monitors. And all in all, it was worth me sitting down to watch it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Probably match of the night, potentially match of the weekend. Any closing thoughts on night 1?
It was good.
Awesome.
No, it was definitely, if you compare it to last year's, not the same because of the crowd, just wrestling in general was much better than last year's WrestleMania.
And I think that's a fairly consistent theme at the moment in WWE. I mean, we're not WWE maxes. We're big fans of everything. We like AEW. We like we talk about AEW. We talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. Obviously, it's WrestleMania season at the moment, so the only game in town really is WWE. But all in all, we have seen some appalling WrestleManias. 33 comes to mind.
Triple H versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
What a pile of dog shit that was.
Yeah. We have seen some appalling WrestleManias in our time, and this was not one of them. This is the type of WrestleMania that you could go back and watch and just enjoy. and it wouldn't feel forced. It wouldn't feel, oh, I'm watching WrestleMania, better settle in. The splitting it over 2 nights, genius idea.
Thank you.
Second, yeah, well done, Jay. You called it, to be fair. I said that it wouldn't help, and I was wrong, because this has worked really well. Night 2 we'll be talking about very, very shortly. We are both going to go for a much-deserved break, as we have been nattering our arse off for the last half hour to an hour, and then we will come back and do Night 2. If you are listening on YouTube, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. If you are watching on Twitch, please stick around for the second half. Feel free to use the conversation thing in the side, where you can ask us numerous questions, and of course anchor.fm/Jfabe if you want to listen to us more often. We're on iTunes, we're wherever you can find good podcasts. I am going to go now, because otherwise my voice will break. Yeah, do definitely feel free to binge listen. There's like a storyline or something. Is there a storyline, Jet? I think there's a storyline. Yeah, something like that.
Kind of was.
Cool. Kind of was. Bye.
Okay, bye everybody.
Be right back. Oh, cross promotion for my cross promotion for my that we're going to go on break, but you're going to see my breaks card from my other channel, because I couldn't be asked to make one.